Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. And you can give us a call tonight on the Borders and Borders hotline at 412-575-2600 is the number. Glad to be joined by Chris Mueller over on the 93.7 The Fan Cam. Chris, how you doing? I want to talk a little bit about these Al Villanueva comments today. I really liked Al. Think he's a good guy. I think he's half joking with some of these things, but also half serious, especially with the motivating factor of playing the Steelers twice a year.
I think he's half serious about that. I'm good, Richie. I hope you are as well, and the viewers out there are, all of my fans who love me, who love my hair, who love your hair. I've come around on this.
When are you going to get some hair, by the way? I want to see you grow some hair.
I'll tell you what. Richie, let me tell you something right now that happened, not about Al Villanueva. One of my buddies sent me a picture from an 8th grade field trip to Washington, D.C. It's me with a full mop, big old wig full of hair, basically, a head of lettuce, real hair, not a wig, honest to God hair. I showed it to my wife, and she audibly, groaned and cringed. So if that's the reaction I continue getting from my wife about, the thought of me with a head full of hair, I'm not going to be growing anytime soon. Having said that, I at first thought Al Villanueva looked really bad with what he said about Juju, just because the main thing with Juju was he was putting himself ahead of the team and in front of the team. And we know Al did that on 2 separate occasions for a different reason, but it was still Al and then him being separate from the rest of the team. The more I thought about it, though, and the more I saw videos of Al being on Chase Claypool's TikTok, and then there was the picture that Al had of it was him celebrating with Juju in week 1, pretending to take his picture, I get more of a sense, maybe like you do, that he was doing a little bit of ribbing with those guys, a little bit of a gentle, joking shot there. The few times I've been around Al in person, that's been more his personality, so I'm going to choose to look at it that way. The stuff, though, about wanting to see the Steelers twice and I think wanting to prove people wrong, I absolutely think that part of it's serious. I also think he's raising an interesting point with the way he talked about how difficult it was to play offensive line when you're always pass blocking, that balance makes it easier. I don't know about you, that's a little bit of a shot at the way they played offense last year, and I think that comes back to one guy, the dude wearing number 7.
Yeah, the one interesting thing I took out of that interview, the entire interview he did on Zoom today for the Ravens media, was the fact that they didn't even practice run blocking. They just practiced because they knew that they were going to pass all day long. And, you would interview these guys all year, and they're like, oh, we want to be 50-50, run, pass. But that's not the case. Inside, they knew they were going to pass all game.
Yeah, I think they did, obviously. And I think they knew there were going to be a lot of those run-pass option plays where Ben would check into a pass at the line of scrimmage. I'm sure that happened frequently. Listen. What do we always talk about when a team, even back in the old days when teams ran the ball a lot more, if a team was trailing by 2 scores maybe in the 4th quarter, the analysts would always say, oh, well, these pass rushers can really pin their ears back now without the threat of a running game. And the implication was that made it a lot tougher on the offensive linemen. Well, when you're electively choosing from about not even mid-season onward to just start throwing the ball all over the lot all the time, it's going to have the exact same effect. I've got to believe that a lot of these guys, though they wouldn't say it because Ben has always been very vocal about his support and loyalty to anybody that's his offensive line, I got to believe these guys by the end of last year were pretty unhappy with the way that the team was playing offense and with what they were being asked to do game in and game out.
But seriously, we'll get into maybe this more in the second segment, but what's going to change this year? There's no way Ben's going to change his offense the way he's going to play in his final year playing in the NFL, right? He's not going to change. And they have a new offensive coordinator. So the offensive coordinator is just going to take the place from last year, essentially, maybe add a couple wrinkles in, right? They got a new running back. What's he going to do? Is he just going to catch passes out of the backfield? Because Ben's not going to want to hand it off to him. So I'm starting to think now, I love the Najee Harris pick, especially for the future, but what is going to change this year?
Come on.
I love the pick.
Come on.
I love the
Come
pick.
to the dark side of the Force, Richie. Come to the dark side of the Force
but
and
what's
admit that I was
change?
right. Well, you're just saying something I've been saying for weeks, and I get, labeled, rightly so, as the harshest Ben Roethlisberger critic in town, but I'm sorry. If this is actually his last season upcoming, there's no way he's doing it any way but his. He's going to say, hey, I'm going out on my terms, playing my style of football. We've talked to a lot of analysts. I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people too, Richie, that you say, hey, what do you think the Steelers' offense is going to look like this year? Is Matt Canada really going to make the offense different? And most of them say, they don't say, oh, yeah, definitely. They say, well, he kind of has to, doesn't he? No. Just because they brought in a new guy doesn't mean the guy that actually runs the show is going to feel any differently about it. That's my biggest fear for the Steelers, is that they've changed all these pieces around. They bring in Najee Harris. And because the guy under center can't really be told anything, it's all going to look the same as it did last year.
Think about it. You could take any job. If you're in your last year as a job and you've been doing something the same way for 15 years, 20 years, or whatever it might be, and you got a new boss, and they want you to do something in the last year, and you already have a contract, do something totally different, you're not going to do it. You're just going to do it the way you did it before for one more year, right?
This is really exciting thinking about Pomp's eventual last year at the station. Whenever Pomp decides he wants to retire and go out on top, man, if they try to tell him to do stuff in whatever that last year is, I got to assume Pomp is just going to say, hey, listen, this is my show, baby, and I'm going to do it exactly how I want to. So that's appointment viewing for me, my friend.
No doubt about that. All right, maybe we'll get into this Ben topic a little bit more in the second segment, and Al Villanueva. Love to hear from you guys. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple minutes.